All right, guys and girls, welcome to Stampy and Ranga here. We've got a special guest with us today, Connor Fearon. He's not only has been a competitor of mine throughout the years, but also an idol for a lot of young guys and girls out there. And he really has come into his element. I didn't realize, but he's been racing for a really long time now. He's been racing World Cup and normal races and a lot of Australian races for quite a long time now. He's a very accredited athlete. And yeah, from here. Welcome, Connor. Welcome to join us.
Connor.
Thank you. Looking forward to having a yarn.
Yep.
Sounds
What was growing up for? I'll get it out eventually. What was growing up like for you, Connor? Growing up in Adelaide, how was that?
Yeah, super. I had like a super good childhood. Had an older brother, younger sister. We used to live like right near the foothills, just south of Adelaide.
Yep.
I just remember riding my bike every single day. That's probably like going back to my earliest memories. So yeah, growing up, we were just doing family holidays, riding bikes. Got into a bit of motocross racing when I was like I guess, an older kid or young teenager, and eventually, like racing bikes. But I just remember having like a super happy childhood, growing up, following my brother around, and yeah, riding bikes a lot.
Yeah, cool.
No, it sounds ideal, man. It sounds like you've had a really good time. And I know that Adelaide, it's a very big sporting city down there with a lot of good followings. And like to some degree, like a lot of the bigger cities don't hear about Adelaide that much. But whenever I meet someone from Adelaide and just hear the passion and the real drive behind their sport, whichever it will be, it's always an experience in itself. So we're really glad to have you on, Connor. And yeah, we'll hopefully touch base stuff and like feel free to talk about whatever you like, man. It's good.
Yeah. Sounds good.
I've never been to Adelaide, and I really know nothing about it other than it's the city of churches.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all I know about Adelaide and great white sharks. So
Yep. Few of those. Yeah, it's for me, it feels like a big country town. Like there's a lot of suburbs. The CBD is not very big, but the city's sort of squeezed in between the ocean and the Adelaide Hills.
Yep.
So kind of ideal for like if you want to do like water sports, surfing, like going on the boat, kayaking, or whatever, and obviously mountain biking, motorbikes. I think for outdoors, like everything outdoors is so accessible here. Like you could be in the CBD and you could ride to mountain bike tracks within like 15 or 20 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah, and then you could also drive to the beach and go surfing in 15, 20 minutes. Yeah, or you can be on a road bike and be out of the CBD in another 15 minutes and be out in like the rural like roads, and which is awesome for like road cycling and stuff.
Yeah. So, how did you get started in racing? Where did it all begin for you?
Yeah, so I guess started riding as long as I can remember. Like I came off training wheels like super early. I just remember like riding to school every day, getting home and riding around the house, building jumps, knocking around the neighborhood with like the local kids and just building jumps wherever we could find like a vacant block of land. And then we always were sort of like hanging out at the local bike shop, which was just around the corner. And I still go to that bike shop now. It's called Mitcham Cycles in Adelaide. So if you're ever around, give it a visit. Like they've been supporting like the mountain biking for a long time. But so yeah, I was like 9 or 10 years old, and would just ride down to the bike shop and just heckle the guys there because we liked hanging out there. And they had a poster for like the local race series, Inside Line. So this would have been 2005 when I was, I guess, 10 years old.
Wow.
And yeah, so like me and my friend Henry, we just like got our parents to take us out to this local race, which was pretty awesome. Like I didn't really know anyone or know how it worked at that stage, and yeah, it was like a downhill race at Fox Creek, and yeah, just had so much fun. Like so, that was like my entrance to like the downhill sport, like how it worked. Like it was a time trial or whatever. And yeah, it was pretty cool. I remember doing like a bit of like a track scope thing with Steve Marsh. I don't know if you guys would know him or remember him, but he was a good. Yeah, you know Marshy. So he was like an elite rider back then, and I just remember him like showing us some sections, and I was just absolutely mind blown about how fast he was going. So that was the first time I'd seen like a pro rider ride in real life, and I just remember how mind blown I was and how cool it was. And I still have, I can still picture him like ride that section in my head from 2005.
Yeah.
How did you go in the race though? Did you were you like a lot of us, and like you like I entered my first race and there were like all these crazy guys there and stuff like that, and I actually beat a lot of them, and I was surprised myself, and then instantly it was like my pathway to follow. Like I knew straight away. Is that something like say your first race? Did you know that that's what was going to be your passion? Sorry.
Yeah, like I guess so. I did end up winning the race, which is pretty cool. And like a lot of the guys that were in the category back then, like under 13s, I'm still really good friends with now. So that just shows like how good the sport is for making friendships. But yeah, I don't know if at that stage I'd go dirt jumping, go downhilling. Like I'd just ride everything on the same bike. And I sort of liked it all the same. Probably wasn't for a few more years after that where I thought like racing could like is what I want to do and like could lead to a possible like overseas trips or like eventually making it my job, which I definitely didn't know for a long time after that first race.
Yeah. Tell us about your introduction to the professional circuit. How were you feeling when you went in? Were you nervous? Were you quietly confident?
Yeah. So I guess fast forward a few years from that first race I did, and me and my friends would like started doing all the races around home, traveled to a few national rounds, and that was so fun growing up, like in under 15s, under 17s, and then obviously working my way up, and I guess starting getting pretty good and like getting the Australian Championship title in under 15s and under 17s, and then when I got to under 19s, which is an age category you can race like overseas, like the Junior World Cups and Junior World Champs. I just got a really good opportunity with Kona back then. They had a pretty strong like national race team, and Ty, who managed that, like got in contact with the Kona World Cup team, and I was able in 2011 go and race a couple World Cups with the team. I did Mont Saint Anne, Val de Sol, and Wyndham in the USA that year. So I did 3 World Cups, not really on the World Cup team, but just like tagging along, and they looked after me. And yeah, I didn't really know what to expect when I was heading over. Like at that time, it was just reading magazines and watching like the Clay Porter videos at the end of the year. Like he made the first movie and like Between the Tape, and I love those. So that was, I guess, how I knew what was going on with the World Cups, because there was no like not much internet or social media like now that you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. How was your introduction into the professional circuit, Nathan?
Well, it's
Much the
too long
same,
ago to remember. No, man, I mean, like roughly the same, I must say. I mean, like just on the video sort of thing. I mean, like I think one of my first videos I had was from it was a recording just off the TV of the '96 World Championships in Cairns, and I reckon I watched that footage so much so that the cassette tape was damaged from watching it so much, and like I would just watch it time and time again and just like analyze every single part of it until I knew like exactly what to do and like to learn from that. And like that's all we had back in the day. It's really all we did have, was just to watch these videos and be in awe of what's going on. And then all of a sudden, like I went overseas and started doing well, and I was racing against the guys that are in this video, and I was really pinching myself, you know. And but that's just a stepping stone I think a lot of sports people have. I mean, like when you're basically versing your rivals and then you beat them, and it's like, well, what am I doing different? You know, and it's like, well, I actually learned from you guys. So like secretly, you know, you analyze them when you're growing up, and then, but that's just a stepping stone with a lot of sports. I think it's good.
Yeah. Who's been your biggest inspiration in the sport, Connor? How did they appeal to you so much?
Yeah. So I got to say, Nathan definitely was. Sam Hill and
Good answer, mate.
yeah, and Chris Kovarik. Those 3, like I guess when I was like 10 to 13 years old and just reading the magazines and watching those Clay Porter videos, like those three just really, they just seem like the coolest dudes there. They're from Australia. They
Obviously.
all riding flat pedals. And that had a major influence because I still ride flat pedals, which is really rare. Like pretty much no one on the World Cup does that anymore. So yeah, at that time I was like, man, I'm no point riding clips. Like, don't need that. These guys aren't doing that. So yeah, like that like Rennie and Sam and Kovarik were definitely my main idols growing up. Yeah, I loved, like, when I went to my first national champs, and I think they were all there in like Canberra, probably around 2000, 2008. It was the first time I'd actually seen these guys in real life, and I remember being like super starstruck at the time.
Yeah, I've met Kovarik. He's a cool dude.
Yeah,
I've met Sam Hill, but yeah. So.
Yeah, I think that's one of the advantages that, like, even I had when I was growing up, like coming into the sport, was just how friendly the Australian community is. And then like when I went over to America for the first time, it was difficult to sort of deal with people, and a lot of it was to do with like having the pit areas were all segregated. Where you come to Australia, and we really didn't have like a big pit areas. We do now, but like back in the day, it's like you had to mix and mingle all the time, and like, you know, borrow parts, get ideas, practice with people, practice with your competitors. I mean, like, you would do that anyways at the World Cups, but because it is on such a bigger scale, it's difficult to do that. And that's where I think a lot of Australian riders, not only mountain biking, but I keep mentioning in lots of sports, like that's where Australia's camaraderie, like where it really comes together. We do have an advantage with that. I think it's great.
Yeah. You may know I headed up the Rennie's Army one year down in Canberra.
yeah.
Do you remember that, Connor? Or were you a bit young for that? Or
Yeah, was that the World Champs or the World Cup? Or because I definitely went and spectated at those. Yeah.
What was that? What was it, Nathan? The World Cup or the World Champs?
I think it was World Cup the first time.
Yep.
Rennie's Army was there, and they had T-shirts and like all sorts of funny stuff. I didn't even know, like in the lead up to like a big race like that, I generally just kind of hide away and then don't really do much. So I didn't even really know. I knew that Daniel was going to be there, but then like I rocked up and there's all these people with T-shirts on and like mad wife, this chant, which had nothing to do with mountain biking whatsoever, but everyone was chanting for Ambrose's girlfriend or wife at the same time. She had more attention races did, you know, so it was.
So on that trip, we saw some pretty wacky things. What's the wackiest thing you've ever seen on tour?
I don't know. I feel like the last few years, everyone is pretty cool. Like, there's not a crazy after party, like a lot at most places, and everyone sort of behaves. But I remember like the first few years, at one of the after parties in Europe, I saw like some fans body slam a Fiat Panda in Italy and just smashed the roof in, and like I felt really bad, but like definitely don't condone that sort of action. But they just caved in this guy's car, for no reason. So
yeah, so that's not good. That's not good at all. I mean, like,
yeah,
I don't know these things in particular, but like partying back in the day at some of the races, like some of those things, it wasn't expected, but it went unnoticed that these things were going on, and like definitely dumb things were happening, and the sport actually got a bit of a bad reputation for it. And I can thank all of you guys, like younger generation, all that. Like it's very more structured now, and it's a lot more easily viewable to witness your guys' talent and just the amount of effort and energy that goes into it. It's at a much more higher end professional level these days. I feel I think it's great.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so I think maybe it comes with like all the social media, everyone's watching as well. Like it, but I think a lot of guys just don't want to do it. Like they want to be in good shape. They don't want to be hungover the day after the race. Like, and it's the competition's fierce, so like you don't want to put yourself at any disadvantage.
Yeah, and gives yourself bad publicity too, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it can easily happen. I mean, like,
what's been the biggest lesson that you've learned during your time as a professional?
Probably like just not to be. I just learned this by myself, just to not be so stressed out, because you can't or you can just do your best. So like I went through a few years of sort of hating, like trying really hard and being devastated when you crash or the race doesn't go your way. But now that I'm older and I can like see in retrospect, like it is a hard sport and every run is not going to be 100% or the best. Like you're going to crash, might get a flat tire. Yeah, putting down your best run doesn't happen every race. So, like now that I know that, I just go into the races like less stressed, just focus on doing what I can for the best possible outcome.
That's it. Yeah.
That's all you can do.
Did you have a similar strategy, Nathan? Or
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, like it took me a long time to realize that, like your race run. I mean, like downhilling is one of the most cutthroat sports there is in the world. It honestly is, because you have all this preparation time leading up to it. Like your preparation, your training and preparation leads up to 5 minutes or less than 5 minutes for one run or one result to represent all of that leading up to that point. I know a lot of sports are like that, but when you're doing such a dangerous sport such as downhilling, I mean, like you look at motocross and things like that. Yes, of course they're dangerous, but they also have 20 minutes to sort of make up for lost time. So like downhilling is shorter, and like one mistake, and then you can basically count yourself off the podium sometimes. So just learning and just having perseverance and like just understanding like those mistakes and just like having your formula and just ticking all your boxes in the lead up to it. That's the hardest thing. And like not having outside distractions as well, just like cutting people out that may or may not have good or bad things to potentially disrupt your run, which again, it's only 5 minutes long. So like you have all this time leading up to that to only 5 minutes. So focusing is a major part of it.
yeah, yep. You seem very humble, Connor. How do you stay grounded in a sport with such big egos?
I don't know.
I don't have an ego.
Yeah.
Not at all.
No.
I just honestly feel like it's when people sort of ask for signatures or photos, it just sort of seems surprising to me, because I'm just the same person as you. Like you're out there riding, having fun, and I am. It's just so happens that I don't know, like for whatever reasons, I can just ride at this level. Like so I don't really see myself any different to just like a guy racing sport or masters at the local race. Like we're just both out here doing our best. So that's how I've always felt. I've never felt any different like to the normal punter. I guess that's maybe why. Like I don't feel like a super like professional athlete or anything. Just another guy out there riding his bike.
I guess with
that's the best way to
big
be.
egos comes big expectations too. If you don't succeed, there's a lot of weight there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where do you see MTB in the next 5 years, Connor? How far can bike tech improve from here? Like,
I guess the World Cup series is going through a bit of a change at the moment. They've introduced a new like semi-final thing, which a lot of listeners probably have seen. So forever it's just been you do practice, then you do qualifying and then the race. But as of last year, you did practice, qualify, and then there was another qualifying called semi-final before the final on race day. I didn't personally like it, and I think the rumors are it's going to get changed back maybe next year just to just one qualifying round. I don't know where it will go, but I hope the World Cup turns into more of a fair World Cup series, like with more races outside of Europe. Obviously, you need a lot more money in the sport to sort of make that happen, but I'd love to see it, like go back to Japan or Hawaii or like back to Australia, New Zealand.
Yeah.
Just because now it's pretty much just a European national series, like is what it feels like. So yeah, like I would have loved to travel more of the world. Maybe Nathan had during your time you had the Norbers and maybe some more exotic locations to just the normal.
Yes, yeah. I mean, like back then, the World Cup really was the World Cup. Like you went around the world, and there were many different destinations. But I thought it was unreal. But like back in the day, I mean, I'm pretty sure that you still do. But like you'd have normal races, which is North American series, and then you also have a World Cup. And so like when you're going back and forth and then around the world like that, it's pretty stressful, you know, it really is. And so like just having like a neat format of the races that goes around the world, that's what I see needs to happen. Like exactly, like if it's going to be World Cup, I mean, it's beneficial to have like all the same people behind those events in close proximity, but at the same time, it does need to go around the world in a certain way, and in a way it does. But I feel like we used to do it a little bit better. Like you never know, you never knew what was going to happen. Like you land in a country, you didn't speak the language, you didn't know what the food was, and that was kind of like whether you used it as an advantage or a disadvantage. And like that's what having a World Cup circuit. That's the beauty of it. I mean, like if you have too many races in the same area, network, same people, same languages, then it's kind of difficult to call it a World Cup. You know what I'm saying? Like it's I'm probably being a little bit outspoken there, but yeah, I mean, like, there's nothing better than traveling around and like experiencing different things, and you really find yourself as a racer becoming better in different environments. Like some people really thrive in their home country, and they don't go too far away, and then they have problems. So, but yeah, I don't know. Times are changing. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. Who knows?
How about the technology surrounded by bikes? Do you think how far can that go? You know, short of being basically motorbikes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Well, you are the motor, so yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. The bikes these days, even since I started racing World Cup in 2011, the bikes have changed so much.
Yeah.
They're way bigger. The wheels have gone 2 sizes bigger. So we were on 26 and everyone went to 27 and a half. And now we're all on 29 or like 29 front, 27 rear. And the suspension's so good. Like people have the telemetry system. I don't know how it can get much better without like people everyone utilizing the telemetry and just making their bike a lot better. Like the technology is there now, but we just need it. It's so good. We need these like systems to know how to get the best of it at the race.
Yeah.
But yeah, like man, our bikes like don't break. We never get flat tires. Like the tubeless systems are so good. Hardly ever get mechanical.
Flat tires. Never get flat tires.
No, I reckon I get 1 flat tire a year, maybe. Yeah, hardly ever.
You
Like,
guys got way too easy. Way too easy, man.
Yeah, like that's riding every day, like maybe 1 a year.
1 a year, Jesus! Like that was not the case for us back in the day at all. I mean, like flat tires. There's a few races there where like you had to structure your practice to avoid getting a flat tire. So like even if a race run was the fastest, like your one particular line was fastest, but it had a big crazy edge on it, you wouldn't even practice that because you know you're going to have a flat for the rest of the track. So
Yeah.
all you had to find an alternative way to get around it, sort of thing. So I guess you don't really think about that now. You just
just
get whatever you want.
Yeah, like in the carbon wheels are so good. I like when I go to Threadbow now. Usually, like I guess 10 years ago, I'd go to Threadbow, all my wheels would be buckled, like dented, flat tires, spokes are loose. But when I was there for Cannonball, like end of last year, I didn't tighten one spoke over 5 days. Like no flat tires, carbon rim just stays straight, doesn't get dents or obviously like. Just it's amazing how strong these bikes are now and like resilient they are.
You've got it too good, Connor. You've got it too good. You've got to get back to your roots. I mean,
back in my day,
back in my day, guys. You know,
yeah,
we had it tough back in my day.
We had to ride uphill both ways, but
yeah, carry your bike to the top over your shoulders. We did. That's how we did it. The scary thing is, it's true though. But that's how it was. But like. I mean, like for myself, looking at the bike technology these days, I mean, it really is right up there with any other sport, even motorsport. Like some of the technology that we have and like different components as far as different, you know, carbon fiber versus alloy and chromoly. Like all those days are kind of gone. You know, I mean, like I used to love riding steel frames and whatnot, and I've got a bit of everything still, but yeah, just that technology, like even to a point where I thought it couldn't get much better, then it got way better again.
Yeah.
It's impressive, and it still impresses me today. It really does.
Yeah, when I was young, I remember suspension was still in its infancy, and now it's incredible what you see on bikes today. So it just makes you think.
You got a computer strapped to your bike now.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, but I was there. Like I was riding in the era of tubes and getting flat flat tires like as a kid all the time. So, yeah, it's definitely better now not having to worry about that.
Yeah.
I saw an intro to a video a few years, or a couple of weeks ago actually, but you were tearing up the road in a little Datsun 1200 Ute. That was one of my dream cars growing up. Have you still got that, or?
Yeah,
Feels
I
good
still
about
got it. Still in the shed. Doesn't get see the light of day very often these days, but yeah, I always wanted one as well. Like, always liked older cars, and yeah, just bought it as a little treat to myself, like probably 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, got home one year and getting paid a bit of money, so yeah, treat myself to that, and yeah, it's sort of like, it's also fun, but it's also just keeps going up in value, so it's a good little investment that I can have fun with on the weekends as well.
Yeah, totally. Can you fit a bike in the back?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I like don't.
Pull apart to a matchbox size.
Yeah, you can. I just hate getting it dirty, so usually when I go riding, it's like gravel roads. So I'm like, just take the van.
Yeah, yep, totally.
Definitely not a shuttle rig, that's for sure.
Yeah. Have you? What's your dream car, Nathan? Or dream vintage car?
Dream vintage car was still a Porsche 911.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I still wanted one of those, but like prices and stuff like that, and like, yeah, I should have bought one instead of a house
Yeah.
back in the day. But I don't know, it's still a dream, but I'm still young, I'm still 40 something, and then so yeah, there's heaps of good times ahead. Like I'm looking venturing myself into the bike shop world pretty soon, so I'm looking forward to that. So just going through some formalities with all that stuff at the moment, so that's good. So
I remember that story you told me. You thought about buying a Ferrari Testarossa.
yeah, I thought about it, and I looked at the price tag, and I was like, nah, know about that. It's good to dream, like I grew up with having pictures of like what I wanted as a kid, as we all did, and so that was one of them, but whether that happens or not, I have been in Ferrari before though, but yeah, I mean, I put Porsche 911. I mean, I used to play that game, what was it, Test Drive or something like that, back on like an old school IBM computer, like got just only the keys, and like it was the maddest thing ever, like just barely, like it wasn't black and white, it was orange and black, whatever it's got a name for it, but that was my entertainment when I was a kid. There's no PlayStation, nothing of that. That was your game controller, that was it. Yeah.
And you're sponsored by Monster, of course. I have to give props to that flavor, Mango Loco. How good is that?
Yeah.
I had an apprentice that would drink 2 cans of that a day, and he swore by it, loved it. So,
yeah, the Chippy's breakfast, I think, isn't that?
It is, yeah. You go into the service station each morning, and you see guys walking out with 4 packs of whatever energy drink they drink.
Yeah.
Surely you're not drinking all those in one day, but hell, maybe they do. I don't know.
Got to get those houses built.
That's exactly right. Get it done.
That's it, bro. But yeah, all that stuff, like for kids at home, like Red Bull and Monster, all those sort of things, like definitely have it in moderation. You need to understand that, yeah, it is for a purpose. It does perk you up, and like it's the same as coffee as well, like just moderation with that sort of things. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm a avid coffee drinker myself, so
yeah, I'm having a little tea.
Are you into retro bikes, Connor?
Yeah, stuff.
Yeah, so I don't know if you call them retro, but like I guess like the era when I was growing up as a grom and just like drooling over bikes in magazines and stuff would have been sort of 2005 to 2010. So in my head, they're sort of like the coolest bikes still. So yeah, I got a old iron horse in the shed that but yeah, I love, like, so when I saw Nathan at the retro show and shine down in Adelaide last weekend, yeah, it was cool to see all those old bikes still kicking. So I think, yeah, they're just like etched into my brain as like that was the coolest era.
What was the ultimate bike if you could have had one, the ultimate retro bike?
Oh, I don't know, probably like the Rennie's yellow Iron Horse SGS, because I remember in a magazine there was a photo of him, and it was like, I think that's when he won the World Cup overall, or and it was just him, like, the orange trolley kid, like on that yellow bike. It was a sick photo. I remember just watching that photo, just looking at it, because that's what we did back then. Like no Instagram or anything, and I just thought that the photo was awesome. and the bike was awesome. And so yeah, it was cool to see that frame last weekend in person.
Yep. Yeah, I had the Trek Y frame, Cannondale, the Super V.
Yeah, yeah.
Missy Giove, I idolised her. Used to read Australian Mountain Bike magazine, and yeah, photos and pictures of that in there, and
yeah,
I draw all over them, and incredible. But
yeah, it's funny just thinking like just going back to the same photo in a page of a magazine. Like the kids these days wouldn't even understand like
what's a
like
magazine?
it's just one photo, yeah, but yeah, they just wouldn't even. It's just funny how times have changed in a short period of time. Like it doesn't feel like that long ago that I would be looking at the same magazine every day, looking at the same photo.
Yep. I do the same thing.
Yeah, like
I used to do the same. I just do the exact same. And it's funny you mentioned Missy, and like she's had a pretty wild lifestyle and career and stuff like that. I was on the computer much the same as we are now, and her head just popped up. He said, "Hey, Rennie, what you doing?" And so like she just appeared out of nowhere, and I hadn't seen or thought of her for years and years. And like we just had this conversation, you know, and I was really honored. Actually, I was. I mean, seeing someone who has this crazy lifestyle, I've had a bit of a crazy one too. But then like she just popped up and she just put her head out there and just said, you know, how things going and all that sort of thing. So I was really chuffed with that. And so, and that just goes to show like how close the mountain bike community is. It really is. Age doesn't really have a boundary. Basically, it's great.
But what's the coolest destination you've been to, Connor, around the world when you've been traveling?
I reckon went to Hawaii for a video shoot a few years ago. That was pretty cool. I would love if they did a race there. I'd definitely hit that up. In Europe, I love Maribor. Like, funnily enough, I don't really like the racetrack, but the town is really nice and cheap, and they got a lot of secret like lomas on the hill. And we stayed there for like 2 weeks, me and Ant-Man, like a couple of years ago, and just we stayed at the top of the hill. We'd ride all these sick like lomas down to the village, like get a chocky milk, whatever, catch the gondola back up. Just a really nice town, Maribor. So if I was ever going to spend time in Europe, I'd probably head there.
Is there many tracks in Hawaii?
No, we sort of just rode down this volcano thing that was we went to one bike park, but it was a bit wet and slippery, so we just sort of made our own tracks on one of these volcanoes where there's lots of like people on dirt bikes will do like hill climbs and stuff. So we sort of poached their tracks and filmed on those, and it worked out pretty good in the end. But there was definitely no like bike specific tracks that I remember, but it was still awesome. Just riding this crazy volcano dirt, hanging out at the beach with the big sea turtles and stuff. Like that was sweet. Yeah, and it's actually with Steve Smith as well. So obviously his past. So it was some good memories with him as well.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah. I remember seeing like I never really thought of Hawaii as being like a mountain bike destination, and like you instantly think of like the beach and all that sort of fun they have there. And I remember seeing photos of the trailer they had. This is years and years ago, before your time, Connor. And yeah, the track, it was going through people's backyards almost. And so like it was, you think of Hawaii and you think of like surfing and people out on the beach and having fun, and then they have a mountain bike race there, and they're literally going through people's backyards. You may as well have people drinking tea and like that. So that was a real eye opener for me, like just to realize that a destination which is known for one thing can be known for several others as well. That's the beauty of traveling around the world, man. Like anyone out there that's listening to us that needs to travel, get the itch, man, and just do it. Just do it. You meet incredible people, and it just the places that are around the world, it's totally unbelievable. It really is.
Have you got a scariest place that you've been to?
Not super scary, but I guess like the race in South Africa, it's just like a different. Like we didn't see much. We drove through the town. There's like a lot of obviously like homeless people, and it's just I know seeing all the slums and like off the side of the highway. Like I love South Africa. I don't want to look like I'm talking ill of their country, but you just don't see any of that where we're going, like in Australia and Europe. So it's a bit of an eye opener, heading there. Yeah.
When you're on tour, do you are you chaperoned around with security, especially in places like this, or?
Not security or anything, but I think at the like just at that South Africa race, like I just remember that the house just had like huge barbed wire fence around it, like a big electric gate, and just a weird, like nothing sketchy happened, but it was just like I'm not used to that. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a note to everyone as well, like when you are traveling around, like have the buddy system going, like stick with your guys and girls that you know and trust. I mean, like it's good to go out there and experience those certain scenarios, but I've been in a few scenarios there where I've just been by myself, can't talk the language, and you really do need to look after yourself, man. Just don't think that it's like some crazy holiday where you can just roam on down the street, because people know that you're a tourist and people know that nobody knows you there, and you never know what's going to happen. You honestly don't know what's going to happen. I was in a few situations where a hotel, for example, I'll make this kind of quick, but I rock up there and the clerk was crying her eyes out at the check-in, and I was like, "What's wrong?" She's like, "I've just been robbed."
Oh.
So like, I literally walked straight past the guy that just robbed her. I said, I just thought he was like leaving. It was another person, but she just got robbed and was crying her eyes out. And I was only young. I didn't know what to do. But that's another thing. Just have the buddy system, and at all costs, just stick together whenever you can. So
yeah, it pays to travel in pairs at least. So
exactly, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Onto a more serious topic here, Connor. Do you think the Tasmanian tiger's still alive?
I hope so. Yeah, there's a lot of wilderness in Tassie, like riding Medina a lot, and I hope it's still out there hanging on, and hope he doesn't get his trees logged, because a lot of logging going down there at the moment. So
yeah, have you had any sightings perhaps, or know people that have?
No, I haven't heard any, not yet though, but
yeah,
still hoping.
Yep. You got a Tasmanian tiger story, Nathan?
I do. I think a lot of people know this. This might have been before Connor's time, but yeah, we saw one. We saw one. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, like it wasn't in Tasmania. It was on the mainland. But a lot of people don't know that the thylacine is actually on the mainland as well, or was on the mainland as well. And like during a big charity ride, we saw one. All three of us saw it. And so you can look it up. There are stories about it on the internet, but yeah, people don't believe me, but I don't care. I know what I saw. I know exactly what I saw. So that's going back a little ways now, but yeah, I mean that's just part of the fun of racing bikes around the world and Australia. It's you never know what you're going to see.
Yeah,
I did a job in Tasmania. It was a building project for a friend's parents who lived in Tasmania, so we travelled down there to do it. And while I was there, I was asking all the people there, "Have you seen it?" Most people in Tasmania had seen a Tasmanian tiger. So
really?
I'd seen one. Wouldn't put it past them, eh? Wouldn't put it
why they don't make it known? Maybe they don't want people going down looking for it.
Well, that's a big part of it too. Yeah, like when we had our sighting, it was like, well, we shouldn't really put this on the TV because people will go and try and find these animals, and I actually felt really bad about that, and I agreed with them, but like when you're in shock like that, you do dumb things, you do.
Yeah, actually that's reminded me of the scariest moment I had. We were in Retallick Lodge, which is a backcountry area in British Columbia. And me and my friend Caleb came around a corner and came face to face with like a big grizzly bear with a couple of cubs. And like I just remember my heart sunk, and like our voice was trembling. I thought I was going to die. I thought the bear was just going to attack us. It had its cubs, and I was like, "This is it." Like this.
Yeah, I've come across a bear too.
And luckily, the grizzly bear like didn't care. Like just looked at us, and then he walked off sort of slowly. But I was so scared. Like truly thought I was just going to get mauled. Yeah, that's definitely the scariest I've been. Now that we're talking about animal sightings.
Yeah,
bears freak the hell out of me.
I know, and these guys are scared. They think Australia's got dangerous animals. But
I know. Like Australia has this reputation for having all these dangerous animals, but like it's like, oh, it's just a couple of bears over there. It's like big things the size of a portaloo, and it's got nails the size of your hand, And like, you're not afraid of this animal that can eat your head. It's
they're worried about a redback spider or a snake.
Really like it's not scary at all.
Yeah.
So crazy stuff. All right, now for the all important questions 3.
Yep.
What's your favorite Metallica song?
Oh, I reckon it'll be Fuel. Just
Fuel.
a classic. Yeah, it just gets you so pumped. If you
Yeah.
need to, get pumped before a race run or something like that song never fails.
Yep.
But they're all good, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Good choice. Good choice.
Yep.
Do you flip your steak once, or do you continuously flip until it's cooked?
I just flip it once, but I do
Good
pretty
answer.
hot. Yeah, 6 minutes on each side. Yeah, that's
Boom,
it.
there we go.
Yeah.
Put it on the counter for an hour, then 6 minutes each side, and she's done. Yeah, like usually pretty well cooked, but that's how I roll.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's flip once, or isn't it, Nathan?
Flip once or flip off. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, sir. The door's over there, mate. I've noticed you've been slipping quite vigorously.
Yeah.
You could just let yourself out, and that'll be fine.
We can't be friends no longer.
Yeah, I'm sorry, mate. It was fun for a little while, but yeah.
And third question, thoughts on global warming?
I don't know, but I don't mind if it gets hotter. To be honest, like I hate winter.
So
I've missed winter for the last 12 years, being able to race the World Cup. So yeah, I like it toasty. See what happens.
Do you think it's a real thing, or do you think it's?
Oh yeah, I think it is real. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not like chaining myself to trees or anything, but
Yeah.
I do what I can.
You don't chain yourself to it. You just breeze through them or
Yeah.
brush them every now and
Sail through them at high speed.
then. Sail through without saying hello. How rude.
So it's been great having you on today, Connor. It's been great to get to know you a bit.
Yep. Yeah, it's been awesome having a chat. Yeah, it's cool to speak to Rennie. Like I said, he's a big fan of his, like back in the day. So yeah, it's been awesome. Meet you as well. It's been a good time.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, thanks a lot very much, Connor there. And we'll look to hear from you in the future, man, and stay healthy and stay on your bike for the most part. But if you come off, just get back on again, bro. That's what it is.
Right back on.
That's it.
That's it.
Cool.
All right. Thank you very much, guys.
See you next time. See you guys.
See ya.